Hi, it's January the 22nd, Tuesday. And, do you have a finished object? And that is the wild cow that I was doing, started in this. And finished it up this way. And no, I can't even follow my own pattern. If you didn't join us for the wild cow, you missed a lot of craziness going on. What was the wild cow? Well, for those of you that joined in me, you know, it was a lot of strange things going on. Basically, I put a poll up in the Facebook group. I let people choose the stitches that they wanted to see for this shawl. It's a crochet along. And then we went from the stitches. Whatever got the most votes was the first stitch. And that was double crochet. And then the next stitch was a front post, and here we did a front post, double crochet into the next stitch, and then we got to quite a few of you wanted to do the double crochet 3 together, which did challenge me a little bit. That was fun. So we did that, and that's where I veered off on this one, because after we got through with that, I was supposed to do quite a few different stitches. I didn't do that on this, although I did that on the purple one, sort of, that I was finishing. And this is the purple, where I had started showing you how to do the finishing stitch. And yes, I know I did go back, but when you see the video for the cow, you'll understand why I started going backwards, because I just wanted to show folks how they could add a picot to the top of their shell. That's all there was behind that, because I am going to do some other things to this shawl, because it is about a shawlette size, and I did make some mistakes on it. I was supposed to, after we did the popcorn stitch here, Jane was supposed to do 4 rows of half double crochet, but of course she was sick and she missed it. And yes, I'm talking about myself in the third person. So I did 2 double rows of crochet, and then we started on this, which made the row counts off for a lot of you, thanks to me. But I hope I explained what happened so that you can kind of figure it out from there. The idea of this shawl was basically for you, one, to play around, learn how to do your own thing with patterns or create your own patterns. I showed you how I wrote the pattern out longhand, which is mostly chicken scratch for most of you. That comes from many years of nursing and writing, and now I just write it out as simply as I can. We had abbreviations, and we also had some stitches that we could use. So that was it in a nutshell. And it is basically designed for you to figure out how to create your own patterns. Write your own patterns. No, this is not a professional pattern. I'm not going to have it tech edited. I am also not going to put it up for sale. It's going to be free. I am working on a blog, and it will be free on the blog. And it is free in the Facebook group. It is a Google Doc, and once I get this last bit written up, it will be put out there in its entirety with pictures, all the special stitches, and the crazy way I write patterns. This was more of a recipe for many of you And I hope you learned something from it. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, that's it in a nutshell for that. That is the only finished item I have, because between being sick and doing a lot of sleeping, that's all I got finished. I have continued to work on my, Scraptastic Granny Square blanket. This is a pattern by Bob Wilson 123. She has video for it, as well as a PDF that you can actually do a scarf with that, or you could turn it into a wrap, or you could turn it into a afghan or lapghan, and I am making it a lapghan. So that's it in all of its craziness. The Tunisian crochet along will start the 23rd, and I do have a couple of books that I have available, but let me go get those and then we'll get into that portion of it. Okay, I have the Tunisian books that I have quite a few. I have the Encyclopedia of Tunisian Crochet. This one is very difficult to get because I don't believe Arnie is publishing this anymore. You may be able to get a used copy, but it's very extensive about crochet and those kind of things. I have quite a few of the Kim Guzman books, as well as the small encyclopedia that is the Tunisian Crochet Stitch Guide. These I use a lot to determine stitches that I want to do in blankets and those kind of things. And then these are 3 books that I've just recently picked up, and they are by Petra Tornek Zimmerman. And there is a volume 1, which is some basic stitches. And she does a really good job with the illustrations. And those are some basic information. And then she has volume number 2, which begins some of the colored and striped variation stitches, where you can use 2 different colors at the same time. And then she has the colorful, which is volume number 3, and it's a combination of a lot of stitches. A lot of these you can get using Arnie's book or any one of Kim's books. Those are some of the, what I call my stitch guidebooks that I can go back to for referencing, and I do that quite often. So, that's just a little bit of a fun thing to do. Now, I hope that you guys have watched the Crochet Nurse. She did some passive stretching exercises because, we're generally sitting in our chairs on our bums. And there are some great exercises for loosening up shoulder, back, those kind of things. I do those on a daily basis, along with some finger stretches and wrist and hand exercises. But the wrist and hand exercises I had started simply because when I was doing home health, you're riding a lot and then you're driving. Truck drivers, people who use their hands a lot, have issues with carpal tunnel, compressed nerves, those kind of things. So those were exercises we learned as home health nurses, along with one other one. And this is a variation on the Crochet Nurse's, what she calls her tailbone tuck. I think, exercise where you do it standing. This is one that we did when we were in the car driving. You had your hands on the steering wheel and you would just clench your buttocks several times so that you could get some blood flow to your rear end, because those of you that have done home health, either as an aide or a nurse or physical therapist, occupational therapist, social worker, you know that you're in the car a lot driving, so you need to get some blood flow, and you can't always stop and walk around for a little bit. So those were some simple ways that we got the blood flow into our butt so it doesn't go dead asleep. So I'm going to leave that link down below so that you can go see that. Those are some great daily exercises. One of the things that I will add to that is there is another further back and kind of a stretch for those of you that have a lot of backache, and that is simply to do that exercise holding on to a chair that's in front of you and then bringing yourself down into a position where you're bent over holding on to the chair with the leg crossed. That helps for a lot of people who have sciatica and also have a lot of back pain. Now, some of us are lucky and we have arthritis in the middle of our back, and those things do not work for that portion. But I will tell you one thing that I have done, and it works great, is I have a pool noodle. Yes, it's a pool noodle, and it is strapped to my sewing machine chair. I have fixed a strap to hold it in place so that I can lean back against it, because this is the stretch you need to do for that middle of the back for your arthritis, is you need to be able to bring everything front and then stretch. When you've got that pool noodle behind you, it helps you bring your shoulder blades back around that and helps to stretch the area of your back, that spine that is right between your two shoulder blades. That is where a lot of my arthritis is at. I've had it since I was probably 16. So one of the other ways is to go to a door jamb and try to wrap your arms around that door jamb to stretch that part of the back. So those are some simple things that I know of to do for those of us that have a lot of back issues, strain when we're crocheting, knitting, because, you know, we're just working this part of our body, and we forget to do those kind of things. So go check those exercises out. They're great, and they do help with the a lot of the pain we get from sitting, crocheting, knitting, cross-stitching, a lot of those kind of fiber arts that we do. That is basically it for this portion. And okay, now it's time for
What in tarnation?
sorry about that. Had a computer recording that just stopped. It is time for What in Tarnation. We have a couple of cute stories today. This one I find rather interesting because if you ever receive couches, chairs, you know, that have pillows where you can open up the case, check them. Really check them. More than $40,000 found inside couch purchased from thrift store. A Michigan man who noticed something amiss about the couch he bought from a thrift store found more than $40,000 stashed inside a cushion. Howard Kirby said he bought the couch from Habitat for Humanity restore in Owasso and used it in his man cave for a few weeks before deciding to investigate why the foot cushion was unusually firm. Kirby's daughter-in-law opened up the cushion and discovered bundles of cash totaling $43,170. Kirby said a lawyer told him he would be within his rights to keep the cash, but he decided to contact the store to see if they could identify the couch's original owner. The money was presented Thursday to Kim Fowl Newberry, whose recently deceased grandfather was the original owner of the furniture. She said her family had no idea he had such a large amount of cash stashed away. Faith Newberry said the story almost had a very different ending. Her family had considered burning the couch if they couldn't find a thrift store to accept it. That's some hot cash if they'd have decided to burn it. And of course, with all these stories, I'll leave you a link so you can see pictures or videos, whatever is there available. I am going to get a little drink first, though. It's one of those days. Now, the pigeons are back. Pigeons spotted in Nevada wearing tiny sombrero. As you know, the previous story was little cowboy hats. Officials in a Nevada city said they are trying to find and rescue a pigeon seen wandering around with a sombrero apparently glued to its head. Reno City Manager Sabra Newby tweeted photos she snapped of the sombrero-wearing pigeon while she was on a ride-along with city parking enforcement officers. Washoe County Animal Services said it is trying to track down the pigeon so the hat can be safely removed. 2 pigeons were recently spotted in Las Vegas with cowboy hats glued to their heads. One of the pigeons was captured by officials but later died. While quirky or fun, it's still inhumane, Newby told Colo TV. The birds suffered when this exact same thing happened last year in Las Vegas. One of them recently died. We don't want copycats. While it would be cute to see, again, it's not all that funny. Although it's a funny story, let's stop that. Escaped horse rides city bus in Wales. A horse found running loose in the streets of the Welsh capital was captured by witnesses and loaded onto a bus for a brief ride. The South Wales Police Roads Policing Unit tweeted a photo of the horse taking a ride on a Cardiff city bus after being found running loose in traffic on busy A48 road Thursday evening. Bystanders who helped police capture the horse said the bus driver had offered his vehicle when police determined it would be a while before they could get a horse trailer to the scene. The horse took a 5-minute ride on the bus and was reunited with its owner at a nearby parking lot. The bus was taken for a thorough cleaning. There is video, there are photos. And as usual, the link will be below. Vancouver University snowball fight snowed out, rescheduled. Who knew there was an annual snowball fight? The University of British Columbia in Vancouver canceled its annual snowball fight Wednesday because of too much snow, but the event was rescheduled to Thursday. The snowball fight had been set for 12:30 p.m. Wednesday on the main mall, but because of too much snow, and I hear you guys up in Canada, British Columbia, got a lot. Because of too much snow Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, it had to wait for it to thaw out some. Heavy snow had also led to widespread commuter chaos and the cancellation of classes at Point Grey campus Wednesday. The annual event, weather permitting, has been rescheduled for 12:30 p.m. local time Thursday. Now that was last week, so apparently we hope that it's already happened. Students organized this event with an estimated 3,000 showing up last year. Probably more this year. This next one is a real interesting story. You know, there's a lot of people that go around jumping off of buildings, bridges, and they call themselves base jumpers. Sometimes they get into trouble. Base jumper crashed into hotel, rescued by woman on balcony. A base jumper who crashed into a beach hotel during a jump gone wrong was rescued by a woman who helped him climb onto her balcony. Cody Koslowski of Michigan said he was participating in a sanctioned base jumping event at an Acapulco beach when a gust of wind sent him crashing into the building seconds after jumping off the roof. Koslowski's video camera was recording as he clung to the strap of his parachute, which was caught higher up on the building, and an older woman came out onto the nearby balcony. The woman took Koslowski's hand and helped him onto the balcony, where he shouted to the roof that he was uninjured. Koslowski said his rescuer then offered him a glass of water. That would be the nice thing to do when someone drops into your balcony. D. This one is for you. Mischievous squirrel rings Canadian couple's doorbell. A Quebec resident whose doorbell mysteriously rang in the middle of the day reviewed doorbell camera footage and identified the culprit, a curious squirrel. The Lovell resident said his wife called about 12:30 p.m. recently to report the doorbell had rang, but there was no one on the front porch. The man said he used Google Nest to review the doorbell camera footage and identified the unusual culprit. I have a garbage can in front of the doorbell, and naturally squirrels like to go inside to search for scraps. Would you believe the squirrel rang the doorbell with his nose while sniffing around? You can see the squirrel looking around after he rings, the man wrote. And it's a cute little video. It's probably maybe a minute and a half. And there's, like I said, down below, there's a link. This next one was on Funny or Die. Now, I have not verified it's true. It involves the F word. And it's quite rather interesting if it is true. Like I said, I have not researched it to see if it is actually true. The 2020 Singapore Motor Show took place this past week, which is an event I didn't even know existed until now because, well, auto companies showcasing their new models isn't something I care enough about to mark in my calendar. However, this year's show has definitely piqued my interest. Subaru was one of the companies unveiling their upcoming vehicles, and one model in particular caught everyone's eye. The new Subaru Forester is a four-door hatchback that doesn't look much different than most other four-door hatchbacks. The name, though, oh man, that's what's really special. The model is called the Subaru Forester Ultimate Customized Kit Special Edition. Yeah, say hello to the Subaru FUCKS. The new Subaru Forester FUCKS edition is something, and there's a picture. You have the person who tweeted it. Ha 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 ha. Hell yeah. This is what he tweeted. Obviously, folks at the auto show and several online automotive news publishers were very, very quick to point out this acronym. And I wish I could tell you that this was intentional and Subaru decided 2020 is the year they got buck wild with their marketing. But alas, apparently according to a letter from Subaru published by The Drive, this was all a mistake. An insanely cool one, but still a mistake. In case you don't believe that and you think this is still all some big marketing ploy to drive attention to their new line of vehicles, usually I'd agree with you. But the name label underneath the car was removed almost immediately. And Subaru isn't even going to offer this model in the United States as a result. Which is a GD shame. And I'm not saying that word. This could have been such a sweet, happy accident for Subaru. Besides, who doesn't want a car that FUCKS? Now, I know a lot of you aren't going to like that one. I found it funny. And I could see how someone would do that unintentionally in another country. So, there's your stories for what in tarnation. Okay, Thursday begins the Tunisian crochet along, and it, like this one, you will be able to follow along afterwards, after I've filmed it, or you can put it in your queue to do it much later in life. Whatever. We are going to start with some basic stitches, and it should be rather interesting. It'll be a little bit of fun. I'm going to do a small sample. I'm not going to do a big, huge blanket. I'm thinking about using scraps with mine, but we'll see. I may decide to just go ahead and use, a different yarn, same color all the way through. But I'll see you again next week. I'll see you again Thursday for the decal, and then next week for the regular podcast, and maybe somewhere in between. Who knows? Everybody have a great week, and remember to choose kindness.